And sometimes I'll be real for man, it's a big tough day today.
Yeah.
So she knows when I come home that, not to have a lot of responsibilities there for me to, do the dishes or anything like that. So
A lot of responsibilities. The dishes.
Show me, baby girl, just don't. You already know that. So just tell me how bad you really. Show me, baby girl, just don't. You already know that.
Hello, boys. Hey.
that's right.
Back again, episode 5, is it? Episode 5. I just think, after episode 2, we're getting a lot of questions, from the viewers about, how it cut off quite quickly,
The pre-season?
Yeah, the pre-season one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that.
So I just thought, before we start, we'll address what happened. So Sui, I'll just pass the mic on to you. If you can just let everyone know what happened, just so, we always talk about keeping it real. Just let everyone know about what happened, why it cut off so quick, and why the viewers were left with an episode not being finished, probably,
Yeah, I didn't know it cut off, but thinking back, I already promised the under 13s Siddle Rugby League team.
Shout out.
Shout out to under 13s Siddle Rugby League team. I promised them that I'll go there and share my story to them. Hopefully that could inspire them. There was a lot of them that want to play and become professional athletes. So it just clashed. I didn't, I just had to adapt. And in the jungle, you got to adapt or get left behind there. So
no, that's a good excuse. That's a good excuse.
Really good excuse, actually.
Good excuse, but I just think that we didn't touch on a lot of the points, with pre-season. So I think we'll go into this episode just talking about how it affects other stuff, family or whatever we kind of need to talk about and kind of touch on, and going on to the 3rd or 4th week now, with pre-season.
Yeah.
Just want to open it up with how's everyone's body feeling with the pre-season so far? Panda?
Yeah, I'll go. Firstly, thanks for having me, boys. Tagged in for P, who can't be here. But yeah, in pre-season,
You know why he's not here?
No, I don't. You want to elaborate? No, with my body, how it's feeling right now, well, me being 35, it's taking its toll a bit. It's only for week 4, so it's starting to adjust. But enjoying it. So, we've got a new coach, a new system. That's been challenging, but really looking forward to it.
I think it's important that our viewers get to know a bit about your background and where Junior came from. I remember as a kid growing up, Junior actually played for Patrician Brother Blacktown. Is that the school?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I even went there.
Is that the school?
the same grade.
Obviously, I went to Kingswood, and then I went to Paddy's after. But you started at Down Hervey, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then got the scholarship to go Paddy's?
Yeah, I was at Dunheved for year 7. So Dunheved's a school in Mount Druitt. It's the public school, and then got approached to go to Paddy's to play footy. And they were pretty much affiliated with Parramatta, but I was playing for Penrith at the time. So it was probably good for my rugby because I learnt a lot of what they were doing over at Parramatta. And then I'd go back to Penrith, and so Parramatta was a lot of 6 o'clock passes, and so it was really good for my skills and that. But yeah, Paddy's was massive for me, especially for rugby.
I just remember, man, Junior being the hottest thing coming out of school. He was probably one of the players.
Hot as in rugby player or hot as a...
Yeah, both, mate.
No, honestly, every club was after Junior. We have this comp called the Arrival Live, and I think he was only 18 or something, and he had NRL clubs after him, and I just remember the noise around the area, in Penrith and Kingswood, knowing about Junior Moores, and obviously Panthers got him. But talking about your pre-seasons, you've been to a number of clubs that that we all look up to. You know, you've got the Panthers there, you got the Tigers, Melbourne Storm, and then Cass over here. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on Melbourne in terms of systems and how systems have changed since coming to the UK.
Yeah, obviously, every pre-season's hard. All of us know that there's never an easy pre-season, and at all those clubs, it was always difficult. But when I got to Melbourne, the systems, just the way they train, the work ethic it was more than I've ever seen. And if I could rewind back, it would probably be an ideal place for me to start. So if I was a younger guy, I would love to start there. Just because it sets you in good stead for your career, I feel. But yeah, just the systems overall, from top to bottom, with the coaches, with the players. Yeah, it was just, you can see why. Like, getting there, you try and understand, you try and think, oh, why are they so good? Like, why are they getting like top 4 every year? There's got to be something they're doing. But then you get there, you realise it's just, they work hard. And that's what they do. They work harder than everyone else. They put in the effort, they put in the work, and then it's the systems that they put in place. Everyone knows their job, and everyone just sticks to their own job, and then it comes out on the field.
You know, when you talk about, because you're 35, like you said, you've been through.
You all right, mate?
You've been, you know, through you've been through loads of systems. And did you start full time straight out of high school? I just wanted to know.
Yeah, so I went straight into full time, straight out of high school, and that was with John Lang. He was like a bit of an older school coach. Like, he was, and his philosophy just changed as I started training there. That he wouldn't play younger guys until they turned 18, and I was only 17 at the time, and I tried to take that as a challenge to try and, you know, maybe be a guy that could change that rule for him, but that wasn't to be. Matthew Elliott came in 2007, and he handed me my debut. Debut.
Double.
Wow.
Double.
Yeah. So yeah, like my goal coming out of school was to play for Penrith.
Yeah.
And looking back at my career in the NRL, it was probably a mistake for me to say my goal is to play for Penrith, and my other goal was to just play with my cousins. So I done that the first game I played. So I ticked it off, played for Penrith, played with my cousins. So then I had a sense of, I've done it, like I've done what I wanted to achieve. And that's probably was my downfall, because I probably thought, yeah, I had a sense of achievement when really it's just started. So it was probably should have set the bar higher. So yeah.
And which you did. You come to Cass, 2016. You took all the awards home that year. It's probably the highlight year of the junior mall was Panda.
So like in saying that, so you said you set those goals, that you reached it. Was there ever a point then after that where you kind of thought to yourself, now I have to set new goals? Like, I've reached these goals, I've kind of in the comfort zone now. Now I have to set new goals. Like you said, you come to the UK and killed it at Cass. Was that like a kind of a switch for you? After, you know, did you realise there was a time where you realised, no, I need to kind of step it up and kind of write new goals?
In my first year, I played the first 15 games straight from round 1, and then I re-signed, and then I got dropped in round 15. We lost the game against the Warriors. We got smashed, whatever, and then I didn't play again for the rest of that year. And all the way from round 1 to 15, I thought, you know, I was just living the life. Like, I thought, wow, I made it. I'm playing, for the team I've always wanted to play with my cousins. Like, it was the best. And then I hit a bit of adversity, and that's probably where I started to rock a bit. And then coming into the pre-season the next year, I got injured. Spinal fractured my leg, and I was out for most of that year. And then that's where it sort of went up and down for a couple of years. I played there for the next 5 years in Australia, Tigers, after Penrith and then on to Melbourne Storm. I don't think I ever really found my feet after that until I got to CAS. I had a lean year in 2015 and then had a good conversation with our coach at the time, Daryl Powell, and he just took me back to like playing the game for why we started, you know, why we love it, why we started in the first place, and then got back to playing some decent footy.
Cool. It's inspiring journey, eh?
No, yeah.
When you're thinking and how you found yourself through that, adversity. I know you touched, a bit about Melbourne Storm, the systems and stuff. What are some key attributes or some things that you would have went there from your previous clubs that you learned you're able to take away?
Yeah, just the hard work. There is no easy way around it. If you want something bad enough, you have to work hard for it. And if you do it as a collective unit, you're going to see some success.
Just going back to like your story, because obviously each one of us got a different story, but it helps having a different perspective than having the same one as each other. Like going through the system, like you got a family now of 4, right?
Yeah.
So you started off single, right? Going into full-time training and all of that, but then halfway through, or I don't know, when you got married and got kids, obviously that changed your time and how did you, I just wanted to know, or let everyone know how you kind of balanced the time you had with rugby and
Yeah, good question.
and family from when you were single to when you got 4, 5, 7 kids now.
Yeah, obviously early on, I was training, playing, and I was single, and I was living the single life. So I was with all my time, I was just hanging out with the boys, going out, and looking back at it now, it wasn't a smart decision because I was spending all that time away from rugby, just going out and stuff like that, and that's good at the time, but in the long run, it's doing nothing for you. So like, if I could go back, obviously I'd use my time more wisely. But then obviously when you have a family, your priorities change. When you're single, it's rugby. It's rugby. When you have a wife and kids, those things have to come first, or you're not going to enjoy rugby anyway. Everyone knows family's important. It's number one, and it's been that way ever since got married and had kids.
So good, man.
Powerful that.
Obviously, like we're training together at Featherston, and obviously it's a new kind of experience for myself. Going to kind of like part-time training, but I don't think everyone out there understands, like, just because we're not training full-time, it doesn't mean that we're training softer, eh? Like, our training is up there. And I just think, just for the viewers out there, like, in terms of Super League training and Championship training, it's not like the training Championship is lower quality or whatever. Like, it still pays a toll to the body, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I said to you just before we started, Monday was probably I was in the biggest hurt box I've ever been in my whole career, and we're doing a championship training session.
Oh yes, we got it. Tell me a sip.
Excuse me.
You've been figuring it out.
Coffee sip.
Take a sip.
Oh wow.
No,
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. Maybe I was a lot fitter in my younger ages, but when you get a bit older, it's a bit more. You got to respect your body a bit more. Obviously, it takes longer to recover and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely stays tough.
I think this is what we spoke about before. Like, obviously, there's full-time preseason, but then now us three were doing part-time preseason, but it's still just as tough as full-time. Obviously, full-time, you get a lot more time to look after your body, work on those little niggles. But it's just, I just want to go into balancing that time, or time management. Now, as us three, we've got a lot of time now, and with being part-time players. What do you do to kind of balance that time, or the time off that you get from the part-time training? Jess. Go to Jess first.
Nah, it's what I'm doing with the time that I have now during the day, I think I've taken a bigger role in terms of my off rugby stuff. Obviously, I've invested in a business, Tryline, so I like to get our business bigger and doing things around that. In terms of recovery, I'm still in the mode of full time, and I feel like I still need to do the pool sessions, the yoga sessions, because I know we train at night, but far out the body's sore throughout the day, and if I can fit like an hour and a half session anywhere in between those days, I feel like it's a win for my body to attack training in the afternoon. So it has been really difficult to kind of balance that as well.
Do you feel like that's a good thing? You know, you said you're still in that full-time mentality. Do you think that's helped you, to transition into, to championship?
Yeah, look, I think my mentality is I want to set a stand and put my footprint down when I play for Featherston, and when I set my goals for what I want to achieve and where I see the club going, these little extras is a non-negotiable. It's something that I need to do. I feel like it needs to be done if I want to be successful, and achieve the vision that I see with Featherston.
How's it been with your family? Like, now you've gone from 12 years full time, and then now you got all this time that you can spend with your lovely wife. How's it been? Has it been like awesome with the time that you got now, or is it still pretty much, like you said, full time mode where you're still like looking after your body, training, doing the extras in that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My wife thought she'll see more of me now that I'm part-time, but actually haven't seen her as much. I'm finding myself in different meetings, trying to get smarter, joining different types of courses and meeting new people. So I'm really intentional with my time at the moment, and I try and keep it full on. Maybe because I feel like I need to make use of this time, pretty much what Panda was saying. And sometimes I take it a bit overboard. But I'm just glad the communication over the years, I've learned that communicating has been massive for myself, my rugby and my marriage. And she knows that this month is a busy month. We've got a few projects on outside of rugby. We've got rugby, which is a big part of our foundation for the year. And she understands that a lot of my time's going to be going to those things. So come Christmas, for our getaway on the 22nd, I think that's what the big vision is like, my wife knows that we're going to be so busy right now for the next 2 weeks, but we know on the 22nd, when our family gets to go away and relax, that's when we can get all the time back.
Yeah, no, because with myself, I'm the same. Like, obviously, like, we're in a fortunate position where we're part-time players, but we don't need to graft, so to speak, like the other boys who go to work and graft, come to training, get smashed, then wake up in the morning at 5 and then, go to work again. But I'm just trying to kind of manage my time with, the business that we got going with Tryline Property. We're trying to grow the business, and then hopefully, either next year or the year after, we'll be in a position where the business can take over our wages, our rugby wages, because we're not getting any younger now, eh? Yeah. So I reckon I've got another 6 years in me. 6 years of footy in me.
What would that put you? 45 or 46?
I just want to touch on that, eh? Like, that's one thing that it's crazy. It spins my mind that, and no disrespect to anyone, like at the Super League and also what I'm doing at the moment, but I noticed when I was in full-time training, you always get the odd person coming into training going, oh, my legs, oh, it's cold outside, or, oh man, my hamstring's falling off the bone, sooking. But then I get to Fev, right, and we got guys coming into training with work boots on, all dirty, and they're excited to take the boots off and put the boots on, rugby boots on and train. And you rarely hear someone complain about training. And the difference is, like, these guys are still trying to work for that that goal or whatever they're trying to achieve. Whether they're 38 or whether they're 21, the mentality there is like they're grateful to be there, and it's the happy part of their day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the graft is pretty much what they have to do to survive and provide for their family. But coming into Featherston, stepping into the training paddock and being around the boys, it's like the happy place for them. And they really, really enjoy it. And then, like, it gives me energy, you know, like knowing that this guy's been up since 5, working all day, and then come to training with a good attitude and ready to learn and compete, really puts myself in like perspective that I'm so grateful to be around this kind of environment.
Yeah, that's so good. And you mentioned grateful, and you know when you are grateful throughout the day and on things you choose to do, it changes your perspective, eh? So what you're just sharing there is it's all part of perspective. Like life's all perspective, and if you being full time, you got to have a perspective about it. Because like you mentioned, we don't know what you guys go through and stuff, eh? And if you are there turning up to complain about sore leg and stuff, there's another guy that's, you know, working 12 hours a day and then coming and being grateful for where he's at and still chasing the dream. So
Yeah.
I really feel like you touched on some good points there. And yeah, it's so important, you know, that gratitude. If you can practice, you know, gratitude,
Yeah.
that changes the perspective regardless of what you're facing or going through in life.
I want to know how you're going at training.
I was about to ask, like,
Hey.
if you're full-time
Now, you know,
training, and then
new coach,
Yeah.
new systems again.
what do you do to deal with, like, the question I've asked these boys, the time with your family? Because I know pre-season is tough,
Yeah.
and then you got to go home and you still got to have the same energy, with your family. So
That's true.
what do you do to kind of deal with that?
Yeah, you know, Panda mentioned before, every preseason's hard, eh? And I feel like, yeah, it's just practicing a bit of that gratitude that changed my perspective. So I can, you know, you touched on energy, because it's all about energy, and it's been good. Week 4 or 5 now. This is, you know, the good part of preseason now, where we've got more of the ball in hand and 13v13. You know, this is when you can start bringing into our gameplay into motion and work on the things and work on the areas that we need to work on. But for me, one thing that I mentioned before is, you know, when I'm at footy, I got my footy hat on, and it's important I don't take that, you know, footy hat home. And I'll share. I remember week 1, it was man, I had a tough, you know, week 1 and all that kind of stuff, and I remember taking it home with me, and I didn't realise. I was grumpy, moody.
This year?
This year.
Okay,
Just past week 1, and I was, you know, I didn't realise I was, you know, like, just my reaction and, you know, was aggressive in a way, and I really had to just sit back and, you know, call my wife at the time and let her know. I was like, man, sorry, man, I've had a big day, and she even noticed. Yeah, I noticed you're a bit more aggressive. So that's one big lesson that I learned, you know, for day 2, is to make sure I, you know, clock off and take that head off, and when I'm at home, to fully, you know, be present and conscious of, you know, this is family time now. Whatever happened at work or pre-season, you know, that stays there. My family don't deserve that. So, yeah, that's been a big thing for me. So when you're mentioning that.
So I think that explains why a lot of her posts in the second week was the lovey-dovey post. A lot of her more and more everyday posts.
Yeah,
Which is good there, because like you said, you change your communication in that, because I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Like, my communication is bad. Like, I take it out on, when I am tired, I go home and I don't know I'm doing it, but my wife is like, oh, you're moody, you're grumpy, you're taking it out on her, I'm taking it out on the kids.
Yeah.
And like, I think I've gone a little bit better, but I could, you know, got loads of improvement in me. And now my son is going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, his training is a lot harder than my training, but he's full time now, and he's coming home, you know, and I'm gonna have to talk. Like, there's times where I talk to him about his mood, because he's shown it to his mum, and I have to step in and be like, Dulu, you know, relax. You know, he still knows Dad's Big Daddy, you know.
Are you looking up at him? Are you silly?
But yeah, no, but it's something that we all go through, eh?
Yeah.
Like, kind of trying to sort that balance out with your training, and trying to go home and keep the same energy with your family.
It's powerful you share that, and I really feel like that's a really key part, is, you know, your wife or, you know, your partner at the time, is if they're not on board or they don't understand what we go through, that's where a lot of things crash down or, you know, fall down. So when we talk about communication, that's a big one, eh? It's important you communicate, and that's one thing, you know, mentioning as well. I try and call at lunchtime or stuff, just to, you know, we always communicate how you know, how's your day going, all that kind of stuff, just checking in. And sometimes I'll be real for man, it's a big tough day today.
Yeah.
So she knows when I come home that, you know, not to have a lot of responsibilities there for me to, you know, do the dishes or anything like that. So,
A lot of responsibilities. The dishes.
oh, mate, the little things end up being the big things, mate.
Does she give you some leeway? Does she give you some leeway?
No,
then?
it's
You're
been
like,
good communication, there's clean and leave there. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, what dishes?
For the dishes.
Okay.
How's times with you coming through? Obviously, she was with you at Melbourne,
Yeah.
and having, like, I think her moving from Sydney to Melbourne,
Yeah.
and then coming to the UK.
Well, first it was a massive move just to move to Melbourne. You know, moving away from family, you know, asking her to do that, and then we were there only for 2 years. And then I had to ask her to move to England. So we weren't married at the time. We had 2 children. And then, she wasn't on board at first. And then she obviously knew for me to keep pursuing rugby, had to happen. So, yeah, we come over, but she massively struggled at the start.
Yeah.
The first year was tough. And that probably why I struggled a bit as well. It made it easier for me to go, well, you know, my footy's struggling because, you know, my missus is struggling and that sort of stuff. But, you know, second year, started to pick up. She got a core group. You know, obviously when you guys came, and your wife, and then everyone else, she got a solid little group, and then that picked her up huge. And then she's happy, I'm happy, you know what I mean?
How would you, how important is it to have your outside of rugby solid before you could even perform well? Like, is it, what's the question? Is it something that has to be right for you to play well, do you feel? In terms of advice to young people or someone out there?
I think if I look back at every period I've had go really well in rugby, home life is really well, going really good. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a connection. Because I can't see home life being great and you coming out and performing really well every week on a consistent basis. I can't see that happening. So it's definitely important, I feel, for family, everyone at home to be sweet.
That's a good point, because we forget the sacrifices our partners have made for us. Like, we're all chasing our dreams, but our partners are following us. So when we think about, you know, it being tough at training and we're going home and, you know, we're being moody, you know, to our partners, we got to remember that they've sacrificed a lot for all of us to kind of chase our dreams, put their dreams on the back burner, you know, so we can do what we want, which is massive.
I really feel like, we need to sort of acknowledge everyone's partners and wives, you know, especially us rugby league players, because, you know, like you said, without them or without their sacrifice, we wouldn't be able to do what we do, and, you know, you have to be on the same page to do that. And I can only imagine for you coming over, and, you know, you mentioned, you know, with Tans and how hard it was, you know, my big takeaway for you is, man, you get home right, you know, win at home, you win on the field,
I also think this is good for another podcast. Another subject that we can go deeper in with the wives and why they're so important, because it's definitely something that needs to be spoken about.
Even bring them on so we can debate with them as well.
Definitely.
Just with the pre-season subject again.
I want to go into systems again, because used to have been in different systems, but now used to play in the same team with a coach who's kind of brought in like quite a new system that like I've kind of heard of. Like, I want to go and ask you two how it is, what your thoughts are, and do you think that it's something that could work for championship?
For me, it's definitely different, but different isn't always necessarily wrong. It's just something you got to adapt to. So even though it's a different system, it's a proven system, because it's it's got results before, so it's just something for me to buy into, and I'm looking forward to getting it down pat and then being able to perform it on the field.
How about you, mate?
Man, for me, I come into the team with open arms and a fresh mind because I knew it was going to be different. And I've only been under Powley for 5 years, so like I had to have the understanding that it's going to be different, and I need to buy into it really quick, because if I don't, then I'm going to miss I'm going to be behind on the 8 ball. But the system to me is like learning something new, and when I'm learning something new, it takes me a while to kind of get it in the brain, and I need to talk about it all the time. But then I feel like the one thing that our coach is massive on is unity, massive on unity. And he goes on about being together, looking after one another, but also believing in the same process, or whatever we're going towards, we have to believe in it. Because if we don't, then it's not going to work. So that was my mindset in terms of like, nah, this doesn't make sense. This is not what I'm used to. You know, we're always told if they can throw it over the top and hit the winger, give them a clap. Where our system, no. They throw it over the top, we should be able to defend it. So that's why I'm so excited. You know, if we're thinking this way, imagine what they're thinking on the other side. You know, they wouldn't even have an idea. But in saying so, man, like, if this comes off and the way that we train and we get the running legs, so to speak, yeah, man, you know, it's a perfect strategy for big games.
Like, because we're quite, you know, experienced players now. Like, I know with myself, if my coach is talking about something and I don't agree with it, I'll tell him. So I'll be like, oh, I don't agree with it, and then we'll have a kind of like a discussion, debate about it.
Yeah.
And then we'll come to an understanding. And, you know, at the end of the day, he's the coach, right? And we go with his decision. But does that happen at your club? Are you in a position where the coach is, you know, quite welcoming with that?
I thought like that, but then, you know, I look at my fingers and there's no rings on them. And there's
You've got one ring?
Yeah, there's a wedding ring, but there's no footy rings on it, and there's plenty of rings on his fingers. So I can't really speak. So
I don't think we say we don't agree, Hales. We question.
yeah, it's just something we're not
We
used
always
to
ask
doing.
questions,
But
and then I don't think we get to the point where we go, well, I don't agree with you there. Like, because he gives us good answers that kind of like, okay, well, that question's answered. So that's why we're kind of excited about it, you know? Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, sorry, I should rephrase that. I don't say I disagree. I just tell my coach, if you're watching, I don't disagree. I just, you know, I'm used to a different way. But I think even regardless whether you got rings or not, like you got, you know, a good footy brain. I think we all got footy brains, and I don't think it's disrespectful for you to, you know, kind of, you know, speak up and voice your opinion on something that you think that you don't agree with.
yeah, but I feel he knows exactly what I'm going to say, because he knows, like, you know what I mean. You'd know the opposite to what you're doing.
Okay.
But regardless, that's the rule. So that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
that's the rule, and we're doing that collectively. I can't see how it can't work if
Yeah.
it's worked before.
It's just about the team buying in, eh?
Yeah,
That's the
100%.
biggest thing.
How about you, with your new coach and Powley having his input for the last 5 years? How do you feel like your system's going?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's a good experience as well. Raiders, ever since he come in, he's just fitting really well, and it's not like he's sort of come and try to change too much, which has been a massive, you know, positive, and plus, you know, it means for me that's been there last year. I didn't have to change much. You know, I didn't have to unlearn to relearn. Whereas, you know, he's sort of come on and built on top of what sort of Powley's already laid. So it's been exciting, like you mentioned. Like new systems, man. Regardless of what systems, you know, what we've learnt is as long as everyone buys into it and you know, fully believes in it, then, you know, it's gonna work. And if it's not, it doesn't fall on you. You know, you've put 100% belief and trust in the system, and You know, systems are going to show you one thing, two things. You're either going to win or you're going to lose, and you know you can only learn from that.
So what's your prediction of your team then? Finishing
the new
where he's
era,
going to finish this
The new
year?
era, yeah.
Where he's going to finish next year in the Super League table?
definitely be in the top 4. So
No. Where he's going to finish?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm not a magician or
Just top 4.
oh, like anyone else say, yeah, we win it.
Gee,
we win it.
there's
but,
one
hey,
question I want to know. Are you going to beat Wakefield next year? Because I've never lost to Wakefield since I've been in this
How
country.
long's it been now?
Panda has never lost to Wakefield.
How long's it been?
This guy's never lost to Wakefield. But it's on you, because we've given you the title
I feel
now.
like that's a silly question, eh?
Okay.
Because
So you heard it here.
Why?
If Cass lose to Wakefield, you know why they lost. The new era. It's the new era.
nah, but it's exciting times. Like anything, eh? With looking forward to it anyway. So
Like I asked these guys, is there ever a time where you don't disagree, but you got different opinion on his coaching philosophy or what he wants to do on the footy field?
yeah, like you mentioned before, and I feel like it's good if you like sort of disagree, or not say disagree, but I think it's important you ask questions, eh? You know, when you ask questions, you want to be on the same page and you want to understand why the coach is telling you to do this, or you know, if you're thinking of a defense, why are you telling the jam? Because when you understand the bigger picture, it's going to help, you know, and then that way, as players and as a team, you're going to row in the same direction, and if we go after that big result. So, yeah, I feel like if there's anything I don't understand or agree on, I'll put my hand up and ask, hey, why are we doing that? Because it's better to ask and find out why, and you know, something that you can believe in, rather go back after the meeting and start talking around to the players, because that's not healthy at all for anybody. You'd rather ask the question, why are we doing that? And then when you understand the purpose, okay. And whether it works or not, you know, you have to fully put your trust in the coach or in the system, eh?
Yeah.
And you know, if you try and get out of the system, or like you said, then you know, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So,
Well, for you, Panda, because you've been in the best system, pretty much everyone knows, is Melbourne Storm. How were the boys with Craig Bellamy? If anyone you know, kind of not disagreed but had their own opinion on certain ways he liked to coach?
He was actually really good. You know, the senior group had a big voice when it came to, so he'd come in, and if he'd have a play and the boys didn't agree, he was happy to, okay, let's discuss and try and fix it for the group, because at the end of the day, he was like, well, you guys are going to do it on the field. If you don't agree, then you don't agree. And I think that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, he was pretty good in that way.
That's this. Yeah, so just to run down with what everyone said here is pretty much everyone had a belief in a certain system. Hard work is a non-negotiable. You know, things at home have to be right before you can perform right. So I just thought I'd touch base on, you know, me going to FEV, and I had to really, really understand why people come to our games. And I thought it was really, really important that I understand why FEV is significant to play for and what the badge means, you know, to these people. And I don't know if everyone knows, but FEV is a mining town. And in 1893, the FEV people went on a mining strike. And soldiers had guns against them. And they said, you know, stop striking for yourselves and that. And then they ended up shooting them. 2 people died from this. And that's why Featherston's name in the Doomsday Book. And that's really significant about why people keep coming to Featherston and also support this beautiful team. The town's always known as, you know, tough and rough people, but they're tough and rough because they never stood back to a fight. So I know when I step on that field for the first time for Featherston that I'm playing not just for my family and myself, but all those people who were there before me. All those, because rugby was the thing that kept Featherston alive back in the day. And people, they used to be called the Collaroys. And they were called the Collaroys because they came straight from the mines, straight onto the rugby pitch. And everyone would be down there. And that was the community, you know? And I love that. I love that I understand the meaning of where the Featherston people came from. And I feel like that's just like what we spoke about today. Knowing who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
So just tell me how bad you really. Show me, baby girl, just don't.